Welcome to Tech with Kaushik. This is part 9 of our complete practice question series for the AIF-C01 AWS Certified AI Practitioner exam. Choose your answer before the timer ends, then review the correct answer, explanation, and exam tip. Let us begin part 9. For question number 227. Separate the requirement from the distractors. This question focuses on classification metrics. Pay attention to qualifiers such as least, most, and minimum. A telecommunications provider built a binary classification model to predict whether a customer will cancel their subscription, churn, or retain. The provider needs a metric that balances the trade-off between falsely predicting a customer will churn and missing a customer who actually does churn. Which evaluation metric is designed for this specific classification balancing act? Watch for distractors that are valid services but wrong for this scenario. Consider option A, root mean squared error, RMSE. Consider option B, return on investment, ROI. Consider option C, F1 score. Consider option D, bilingual evaluation understudy, blue, score. The correct choice is C, F1 score. The key clue points here because predicting whether a customer will churn or retain is a binary classification task. Because the company needs a metric that balances the trade-off between false positives, predicting churn when they stay, and false negatives, missing a churner, the F1 score, which is the harmonic mean of precision and recall, is the perfect evaluation metric. A. RMSE, root mean squared error, is used to evaluate regression models, predicting continuous numbers, not binary classification. B. ROI, return on investment, is a business financial metric, not a mathematical machine learning evaluation metric. D. Blue score is used to evaluate machine translation tasks, entirely unrelated to tabular churn prediction. When evaluating a binary classification model, especially with imbalanced classes like churn or fraud, and you need to balance precision and recall, choose the F1 score. Question number 228. Find the decisive clue before choosing. Identify the decisive constraint before considering the options. A legal firm uses an Amazon Bedrock Foundation model to draft emails. The firm wants the model to be able to reference and cite the firm's archive of 10,000 past legal briefs when drafting new emails. The firm has a small IT budget and wants to avoid the compute costs associated with retraining models. Which solution meets these requirements most cost-effectively? Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Next, option A, use Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases. Next, option B, choose a different FM on Amazon Bedrock. Next, option C, deploy a custom model on Amazon Bedrock. Next, option D, use Amazon Bedrock agents. The required response is A, use Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases. Knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock provides a fully managed retrieval augmented generation (RAG) architecture. It allows a foundation model to dynamically search and cite an external repository of documents, like 10,000 legal briefs, to answer questions, providing highly accurate, contextual answers without the massive compute costs of retraining or fine-tuning. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. B. Changing the foundation model does not give the new model access to the firm's private archive of 10,000 legal briefs. C. Deploying a custom, fine-tuned model is explicitly what the firm wants to avoid due to high compute and training costs, and fine-tuning is less effective for factual document citation than RAG. Amazon Bedrock agents orchestrate multi-step API workflows. While an agent can use a knowledge base, the knowledge base itself is the specific solution required to cost-effectively search the document archive. Remember this decision rule. To give an LLM access to a large library of private documents cost-effectively and without retraining, use our AG knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock. Work through question number 229. Step by step. Read the scenario with the target outcome in mind. An MLOps team is formalizing its machine learning deployment pipeline using Amazon SageMaker AI. Select the correct SageMaker AI feature for each step in the deployment workflow. Treat each blank as a separate decision and choose the best fit. Statement 1. Identify the clue in. The team needs a centralized catalog to track the lineage, approval status, and metadata of trained models before deployment. The blank. The candidates are 1. SageMaker Clarify, SageMaker Model Registry, or SageMaker Serverless Inference. Statement 2. Identify the clue in. The team needs to host the approved model as a live API endpoint without managing or scaling underlying instances. The blank. The candidates are 2. SageMaker Clarify, SageMaker Model Registry, or SageMaker Serverless Inference. Statement 3. Identify the clue in. The team needs a report explaining how features contributed to model predictions before regulatory approval. The blank. The candidates are 3. SageMaker Clarify, SageMaker Model Registry, or SageMaker Serverless Inference. Question type, drop down. The correct answer is 1. SageMaker Model Registry, 2. SageMaker Serverless Inference, 3. SageMaker Clarify. Here is why this answer is correct. Model Registry catalogs model versions, metadata, lineage, and approval status. Serverless Inference hosts an API endpoint while SageMaker AI manages and scales compute. Clarify produces bias and feature attribution information for explainability. Answer rows. 1. The team needs a centralized catalog to track the lineage, approval status, and metadata of trained models before deployment. Select vertical bar SageMaker Model Registry. Vertical bar catalogs model versions, metadata, lineage, and approval status. 2. The team needs to host the approved model as a live API endpoint without managing or scaling underlying instances. Select vertical bar SageMaker Serverless Inference. Vertical bar provides a managed endpoint that scales compute according to request traffic. 3. The team needs a report explaining how features contributed to model predictions before regulatory approval. Select vertical bar SageMaker Clarify. Vertical bar provides feature attribution, bias detection, and explainability reports. Here is an important exam tip. Model Registry manages model versions and approvals. Serverless Inference removes infrastructure management. Clarify supports bias detection and explainability. Start by identifying the requirement in question number 230. First, locate the key operational constraint. A university is training an AI model to predict student success. The data scientists construct the training datasets so that relevant socioeconomic, racial, and gender groups occur in proportions that reflect the student population the model will serve. Which dataset characteristic is the team explicitly optimizing? Check each option against the exact requirement. Option A is representativeness. Option B is recency bias. Option C is reliability. Option D is prediction accuracy. After elimination, select A, representativeness. This option satisfies the complete requirement because a representative dataset reflects the relevant characteristics and proportions of the target population. Improving representation helps the model learn from groups it will encounter in use and supports more meaningful fairness evaluation. The incorrect choices are plausible but unsuitable because B, recency bias overemphasizes recent observations and is not the desired demographic property. C. Reliability concerns consistency and dependability of data collection, not whether the target population is adequately represented. D. Prediction accuracy is a model evaluation result, not a demographic property of the training dataset. Exam strategy. Diversity includes varied groups. Representativeness asks whether the dataset reflects the population and conditions the model will actually serve. Move to question number 231. Review the scenario. An enterprise IT department is building a help desk chatbot. The chatbot uses a large language model, LLM, but it needs to provide answers based on a massive, constantly updating library of internal IT troubleshooting PDFs. Which architectural technique allows the LLM to search and read these specific PDFs to answer user questions? Compare the options. Option A. Use few-shot prompting. Option B. Use retrieval augmented generation, RAG. Option C. Decrease the token size. Option D. Sets the temperature to 1. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is B. Use retrieval augmented generation, RAG. The decisive reason is RAG retrieves relevant passages from an external, updating knowledge source and supplies them as context to the LLM. This lets the chatbot ground its response in the current troubleshooting PDFs without changing the model's weights. Now eliminate the distractors. A. Few-shot prompting provides examples but does not connect the model to a searchable PDF library. C. Reducing the available token capacity would limit how much retrieved context the model can process. D. Temperature controls output variability and does not provide access to external documents. Use this elimination rule in the exam. Use RAG to ground an LLM in dynamic private documents without retraining. Grounding can improve reliability but does not guarantee correctness. Question number 232 contains an important exam distinction. This scenario tests whether you recognize the controlling constraint. A marketing agency is fine-tuning a foundation model to write summary captions for long YouTube videos. The agency wants to evaluate the AI-generated captions by measuring how closely their word sequences overlap with a set of reference captions written by human marketing experts. Which automated metric is the standard choice for evaluating this summarization task? The exam distinction is hidden in these choices. Option A. Recall-oriented understudy for gisting evaluation, ROOG. Option B. BRT score. Option C. F1 score. Option D. Bilingual evaluation understudy, BLUE, score. The best answer is A. Recall-oriented understudy for gisting evaluation, ROOG. The requirement to solution match is the agency is evaluating the model's ability to generate summary captions. ROOG, recall-oriented understudy for gisting evaluation, is the industry standard automated metric specifically designed to evaluate natural language summarization tasks by measuring the engram overlap between the AI's generated summary and the human reference summary. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. B. BERT score evaluates semantic similarity using contextual embeddings. While useful for generative text, ROOG is the explicit standard cited for structural summarization overlap. C. F1 score is used for exact match classification tasks, not for evaluating the quality of generative text summaries. D. BLUE, bilingual evaluation understudy, is the standard metric used for machine translation tasks, not summarization tasks. Watch for this clue in similar questions. Evaluation metric rules, summarization is equal to ROOG. Translation is equal to BLUE. Classification is equal to F1 score accuracy. Next is question number 233. This question moves us into AI use case selection. A hotel chain has implemented an AI system that automatically reads thousands of unstructured guest reviews from travel websites and categorizes them into predefined buckets such as room cleanliness, staff friendliness, and amenities. Which branch of artificial intelligence is the hotel chain utilizing? Choice A. Natural language processing, NLP. Choice B. Recommendation systems. Choice C. Fraud detection. Choice D. Computer vision. After elimination, select A. Natural language processing, NLP. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Natural language processing, NLP, is the branch of artificial intelligence concerned with giving computers the ability to understand, interpret, and manipulate human language. Reading unstructured text, guest reviews, and classifying them into predefined categories is a classic NLP text classification task. The remaining options fail one or more requirements because B. Recommendation systems analyze user behavior to suggest products or content, like movies or items to buy, and they do not categorize written text reviews. C. Fraud detection uses anomaly detection or classification on transactional data, like credit card swipes, to find malicious activity, not analyzing hotel text reviews. D. A computer vision processes and analyzes visual data, images and video, not written text. A useful exam pattern is this. Any task involving the reading, classification, sentiment analysis, or summarization of human text falls under natural language processing, NLP. Question number 234. Tests careful elimination. Look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. A marketing firm has a massive database of unlabeled customer purchasing behaviors. The firm wants an algorithm to discover hidden patterns and automatically separate the customers into 5 distinct, natural segments so they can be targeted with specific ad campaigns. Which machine learning algorithm is designed for this unsupervised grouping task? Eliminate every option that violates even one requirement. Next, option A, K-means. Next, option B, decision tree. Next, option C, k-nearest neighbors, KNN. Next, option D, support vector machine. The correct choice is A, k-means. The key clue points here because k-means is the most common unsupervised machine learning algorithm used for clustering. It automatically groups unlabeled data points, like customer demographics and behaviors, into K distinct clusters based on their mathematical similarity, perfectly addressing the firm's need to discover hidden segments. B. Decision trees are supervised learning algorithms used for classification or regression tasks where the target labels are already known. C. K-nearest neighbors, KNN, is a supervised learning algorithm used to classify a new data point based on the known labels of its closest neighbors. It requires labeled data, which the firm does not have. D. Support vector machines, SVM, are supervised learning algorithms used primarily for classification tasks, requiring labeled training data. If the task is to find hidden groupings or segments in unlabeled data, unsupervised learning, the correct algorithm is k-means clustering. Question number 235. The focus now shifts to ML data concepts. Scenario. A computer vision team needs to prepare a dataset of 10,000 photos for training. The preparation simply requires rotating every image 90 degrees and converting them to grayscale. Which approach represents the most efficient way to perform these deterministic, numerical transformations on the image files? The choices are: Choice A. Create an AWS Lambda function to perform the transformations programmatically. Choice B. Use an Amazon Bedrock large language model, LLM, with a high temperature. Choice C. Create a deep neural network to process the images as input. Choice D. Use AWS Glue data quality to make corrections to each image. The required response is A. Create an AWS Lambda function to perform the transformations programmatically. Rotating an image 90 degrees and converting it to grayscale are simple, deterministic mathematical transformations. Writing a basic script using a library like OpenCV or Pillow and running it in AWS Lambda is vastly more efficient, cheaper, and reliable than attempting to use complex neural networks for simple geometry. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. B. An LLM is a text generation model. It cannot perform pixel-level geometric rotations or grayscale conversions on image files. C. Creating a deep neural network is extreme overkill. Neural networks are for predictive learning, like recognizing a dog in the photo, not for simple, deterministic image rotation. D. AWS Glue data quality evaluates the statistical quality of tabular datasets in data lakes. It does not perform geometric image editing. Remember this decision rule. Do not use AIML for simple, deterministic rules-based tasks like basic math or simple image rotation. Traditional code, AWS Lambda, is always more operationally efficient for these tasks. Now tackle question number 236. Identify the requirement in this scenario. An e-commerce company deployed a generative AI shopping assistant on its storefront. The CEO wants a report proving that the expensive AI assistant is actually driving financial value for the company, rather than just acting as a technical novelty. Which metric directly measures the business impact of the AI assistant on sales performance? Review the options. Option A. The number of customer interactions with the AI assistant. Option B. Natural language understanding accuracy rates. Option C. Sentiment analysis scores from customer feedback after AI assistant interactions. Option D. The conversion rate of customers who purchase products after AI assistant interactions. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is D. The conversion rate of customers who purchase products after AI assistant interactions. This option satisfies the complete requirement because while technical and engagement metrics are useful, the CEO explicitly asked for proof that the AI is driving financial value and sales performance. The conversion rate directly measures the percentage of users who engaged with the AI and subsequently spent money, providing the exact business impact metric required. The incorrect choices are plausible, but unsuitable because A. The number of interactions measures user engagement, but high engagement does not guarantee any actual sales or financial return on investment. B. NLU accuracy rates are a technical metric evaluating how well the model understood the prompt. It does not measure financial sales performance. C. Sentiment analysis scores measure customer happiness, which is a valuable proxy metric, but it does not directly measure hard sales or financial impact like conversion rate does. Exam strategy. When evaluating the success of an AI project, technical metrics, accuracy, latency, must ultimately translate into business metrics, conversion rate, cost reduction, revenue. Let's break down question number 237. Review the scenario and identify what must be achieved. A creative writing platform uses an LLM to generate story prompts. Users complain that the AI keeps suggesting the exact same 3 generic story ideas every time they click the Inspire Me button. The developer needs the AI to produce much more varied, diverse, and unpredictable ideas. Which inference parameter should the developer increase? Now compare the choices one requirement at a time. Choice A, learning rate. Choice B, batch size. Choice C, temperature. Choice D, optimizer type. The best answer is C, temperature. The decisive reason is temperature controls randomness in token sampling during inference. Increasing it generally flattens the probability distribution, making lower probability tokens more likely and producing more varied and unpredictable story ideas. Now eliminate the distractors. A. Learning rate controls weight updates during training. It is not an inference time creativity parameter. B. Batch size controls how many inputs are processed together and does not directly determine output diversity. D. Optimizer type is selected during training and is not adjusted to very live generated responses. Use this elimination rule in the exam. Higher temperature generally increases output diversity, lower temperature generally increases consistency, but model behavior remains probabilistic. Focus on the key wording in question number 238. Next, we enter the topic of data privacy. Focus on the requirement that drives the design choice. A government agency is building a sensitive document analysis tool using Amazon Bedrock. A strict regulatory mandate requires that all data transmitted between the agency's virtual private cloud, VPC, and the Amazon Bedrock service must route entirely over the private AWS network backbone, completely bypassing the public internet. Which AWS service must the agency configure to satisfy this network routing requirement? Focus on which option satisfies the complete requirement. Now examine choice A. AWS Cloud Trail. Now examine choice B. AWS Private Link. Now examine choice C, Amazon CloudFront. Now examine choice D, Amazon Q. The correct choice is B. AWS Private Link. The requirement to solution match is AWS Private Link provides private connectivity between a virtual private cloud, VPC, AWS services, like Amazon Bedrock, and your on-premises networks. By using VPC endpoints powered by Private Link, all API traffic between the agency's application and the foundation model stays entirely on the private AWS network, satisfying the strict regulatory mandate. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. A. AWS Cloud Trail is an auditing service that logs API activity. It does not control network routing or provide secure private connectivity. C. Amazon CloudFront is a content delivery network, CDN, designed specifically to distribute public web traffic over the public internet, which violates the requirement. D. Amazon Q is a generative AI assistant for developers and business users. It is not a networking service. Watch for this clue in similar questions. Any requirement dictating that API traffic between a VPC and an AWS service must bypass the public internet or stay on the private AWS network is solved by AWS Private Link, VPC endpoints. Approach question number 239. By checking every constraint. Look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. A data scientist is explaining different machine learning paradigms to a new team. The scientist needs to provide an example of a task where the algorithm is given unlabeled data and told to find hidden structures entirely on its own. Which scenario is a classic example of unsupervised learning? Eliminate every option that violates even one requirement. Consider option A, generating human-like text based on a given prompt. Consider option B, training a model to recognize images of animals using tagged photos. Consider option C, clustering data points into groups based on their similarity. Consider option D, predicting the price of a house based on the house's features. After elimination, Select C. Clustering data points into groups based on their similarity. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Unsupervised learning is the machine learning paradigm where the algorithm is provided with unlabeled data, no target outcomes are given, and is tasked with finding hidden structures or patterns on its own. Grouping or clustering similar data points without predefined categories is the classic, textbook example of unsupervised learning. The remaining options fail one or more requirements because A. Generating human-like text is a generative AI task performed by foundation models, typically trained using a mix of self-supervised and reinforcement learning techniques. B. Training a model using tagged photos, where the tag is the label answer, is the exact definition of supervised learning. D. Predicting a continuous numerical value, like a house price, based on historical features is a regression task, which falls under supervised learning. A useful exam pattern is this. Unlabeled data plus finding hidden groups patterns is equal to unsupervised learning, clustering. Let's analyze question number 240. We are moving to AI governance. Start by separating the facts from the requirement. A credit union deployed a machine learning model to assess mortgage applications. External auditors require a formal document that thoroughly explains the model's intended use, the dataset it was trained on, its known limitations, and how its decision-making logic was validated. Which AWS feature is specifically designed to generate and store this compliance documentation? Use the scenario constraints to assess these choices. Choice A. Amazon SageMaker Model Cards. Choice B. AWS CloudFormation. Choice C. Amazon Textract. Choice D. Amazon Comprehend. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is A. Amazon SageMaker Model Cards. The key clue points here because Amazon SageMaker Model Cards are a purpose-built governance feature in AWS. They provide a standardized template for data scientists to document critical metadata about their machine learning models, including intended uses, risk ratings, training dataset details, limitations, and evaluation metrics, perfectly satisfying the auditor's request. B. AWS CloudFormation is an infrastructure as code service used to provision AWS resources. It does not generate ML governance documentation. C. Amazon Textract is an OCR service used to extract text and data from scanned documents and PDFs, not to author compliance reports. D. Amazon Comprehend is an NLP service used to analyze text for sentiment and entities. It is not a model documentation repository. When asked how to document model details, intended uses, limitations, and risk for governance and audit purposes, the answer is always Amazon SageMaker Model Cards. Work through question number 241. Step by step. First, locate the key operational constraint. A university professor is introducing the fundamental concepts of artificial intelligence to a new class of students. Select the correct term that matches each definition. Complete every statement by matching the requirement to the option. For the first statement, evaluate a broad field of computer science that aims to create systems capable of simulating human problem-solving capabilities. The blank. Eliminate between 1. AI, deep learning, or ML. For the second statement, evaluate a subset of artificial intelligence that applies data-driven learning techniques to find patterns and make predictions without explicit programming. The blank. Eliminate between 2. AI, deep learning, or ML. For the third statement, evaluate a specialized technique within machine learning that focuses on processing data through intricate, multi-layered neural networks. The blank. Eliminate between 3. AI, deep learning, or ML. Question type, drop down. The correct answer is 1. AI, 2. ML, 3. Deep learning. Here is why this answer is correct. Artificial intelligence is the broad field of building systems that perform tasks associated with human intelligence. Machine learning is a subset of AI that learns patterns from data. Deep learning is a subset of ML that uses multilayer neural networks. Answer rows. 1. A broad field of computer science that aims to create systems capable of simulating human problem-solving capabilities. Select vertical bar AI. Vertical bar AI is the broadest field described. 2. A subset of artificial intelligence that applies data-driven learning techniques to find patterns and make predictions without explicit programming. Select vertical bar ML. Vertical bar ML learns patterns and predictions from data. 3. A specialized technique within machine learning that focuses on processing data through intricate, multi-layered neural networks. Select vertical bar deep learning. Vertical bar deep learning uses multi-layer neural networks. Here is an important exam tip. AI is the broad field, ML is a subset of AI, and deep learning is a subset of ML. Generative AI is a capability category often implemented with deep learning. Question number 242 is a good test of exam judgment. The key exam clue is contained in this scenario. A healthcare company is customizing a foundation model in Amazon Bedrock. Administrators initiate and manage the customization from workloads inside an Amazon VPC. Security policy requires all Amazon Bedrock API traffic from the VPC to avoid the public internet. Which AWS feature provides this private network connectivity? Focus on which option satisfies the complete requirement. Option A. AWS Private Link. Option B. AWS Key Management Service, AWS KMS. Option C. AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, Resource Policies. Option D. Amazon Macy. The required response is A. AWS Private Link. AWS Private Link lets the company create an interface VPC endpoint for Amazon Bedrock. Traffic from the VPC can reach supported Bedrock APIs through private IP addresses without an Internet Gateway, NAT Gateway, or public IP address. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. B. AWS KMS manages encryption keys but does not create a private network path. C. IAM resource policies control authorization but do not provide private connectivity. D. Amazon Macy discovers sensitive data in Amazon S3, it does not route Bedrock API traffic. Remember this decision rule. For private API access from a VPC to Amazon Bedrock, create an interface VPC endpoint powered by AWS Private Link. Question number 243. Focus. Next, we enter the topic of model evaluation. An e-commerce platform uses a machine learning model to recommend products. Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor alerts the data science team that significant data drift has occurred because consumer purchasing behavior changed drastically over the holidays. Which action should the team take to mitigate the degraded performance caused by this drift? Options. Option A. Retrain the model using the newly collected data. Option B. Restart the SageMaker inference endpoint to clear its cache. Option C. Adjust the model monitor sensitivity so it stops alerting. Option D. Increase the size of the underlying EC2 instances. The best answer is A. Retrain the model using the newly collected data. This option satisfies the complete requirement because data drift occurs when the statistical properties of the real-world data used for inference diverge significantly from the data originally used to train the model, leading to decreased accuracy. The standard and most effective mitigation for data drift is to retrain the model using the fresh, recent data so it learns the new patterns. The incorrect choices are plausible, but unsuitable because b. Restarting an endpoint only clears its memory or compute state. It does not change the model's underlying mathematical weights to fix prediction accuracy. C. Adjusting monitor sensitivity hides the symptom, the alert, but does nothing to fix the actual problem, the degraded model accuracy. D. Increasing instance size solves performance latency issues, not predictive accuracy issues caused by changing data distributions. Exam strategy. The primary solution for resolving model degradation caused by data drift or concept drift in production is to retrain the model with newer data. Question number 244. Tests careful elimination. Identify the decisive constraint before considering the options. An advertising agency uses Amazon Nova Canvas on Amazon Bedrock to create background art. The artists want to request the model's higher quality output mode and accept the associated increase in generation cost. Which image generation configuration should the agency use? Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Consider option A, set the quality parameter to premium. Consider option B, increase the number of images parameter. Consider option C, change the seed parameter. Consider option D, increase the CFG scale parameter. After elimination, select A, set the quality parameter to premium. The decisive reason is Amazon Nova Canvas supports a quality setting of standard or premium. Selecting premium requests the higher quality generation mode, with pricing based on the selected quality and image configuration. Now eliminate the distractors. B. Number of images changes how many images are returned, not the quality mode. C. Seed changes the initial noise and produces a different image while preserving the other settings. D. CFG scale controls how strictly the image follows the prompt. It is not the standard versus premium quality setting. Use this elimination rule in the exam. For Nova Canvas, quality selects standard or premium output, CFG scale controls prompt adherence, seed controls variation, and number of images controls quantity. For question number 245. Separate the requirement from the distractors. We are moving to model monitoring. Pay attention to qualifiers such as least, most, and minimum. A financial firm deployed a fraud detection model. After several months, the model's accuracy degraded significantly due to changing fraud patterns. The firm wants to fix the current model and automatically detect if this degradation occurs again in the future. Which combination of actions should the firm take? Watch for distractors that are valid services but wrong for this scenario. Next, option A, retrain the model with current data and configure Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor to detect future drift. Next, option B, retrain the model with current data and configure Amazon SageMaker Clarify to detect future drift. Next, option C, build a completely new model architecture and use Amazon SageMaker Feature Store to monitor drift. Next, option D, build a completely new model architecture and use Amazon SageMaker Jumpstart to monitor drift. The correct choice is A, retrain the model with current data and configure Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor to detect future drift. The requirement to solution matches retraining with recent fraud data updates the model for current patterns. Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor can then compare production data or model quality statistics with established baselines and alert the firm when drift or degradation exceeds configured constraints. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. B. SageMaker Clarify supports bias detection and explainability and can participate in bias monitoring, but it is not the primary service for general data and modal quality drift monitoring. C. Feature Store stores and serves ML features, it does not monitor endpoint drift. D. Jumpstart provides models and solutions, it does not monitor production drift. Watch for this clue in similar questions. Retraining addresses detected drift. SageMaker Model Monitor provides ongoing data quality and model quality monitoring against baselines. Approach question number 246. By checking every constraint. Look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. An online learning platform produces video lectures in English. The platform wants to expand globally by automatically transcribing the English audio, translating it, and generating dubbed audio voiceovers in several other languages. After translating the text, which two AWS services should the platform use to generate the initial text transcript and the final spoken voiceovers? Choose two. Choose every applicable answer and reject partial matches. Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Consider option A, Amazon Transcribe. Consider option B, Amazon Poly. Consider option C, Amazon Textract. Consider option D, Amazon LEX. Consider option E, Amazon Comprehend. The best answer is A, Amazon Transcribe, B, Amazon Poly. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Amazon Transcribe is an automatic speech recognition (ASR) service that converts the original spoken audio into a text transcript. After the text is translated, Amazon Poly is the text-to-speech service used to synthesize the translated text back into lifelike spoken audio, voiceovers. The remaining options fail one or more requirements because C. Amazon Textract is an OCR service that extracts printed text and handwriting from scanned documents and images. It does not process audio or generate voiceovers. D. Amazon LEX is used to build conversational chatbots, not to generate bulk audio voiceovers or transcribe lectures. E. Amazon Comprehend is an NLP service used for sentiment analysis and entity extraction, not for generating voiceovers or transcribing audio. A useful exam pattern is this. Audio to text is equal to Amazon Transcribe. Text to audio is equal to Amazon Poly. Text to new language is equal to Amazon Translate. Question number 247. Find the decisive clue before choosing. Identify the decisive constraint before considering the options. A hospital uses a machine learning system to evaluate patient data. After the system was trained on historical records, it was deployed to evaluate new patients and output a score indicating the likelihood of readmission within 30 days. In the machine learning life cycle, what is the process of using the trained model to generate this prediction on new data called? Watch for distractors that are valid services but wrong for this scenario. Next, option A, inference. Next, option B, feature engineering. Next, option C, data augmentation. Next, option D, model validation. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is A, inference. The key clue points here because in the machine learning life cycle, inference is the operational phase where a trained and deployed model processes new, unseen data to make a prediction or generate an output, in this case, predicting the likelihood of readmission. B. Feature engineering is the data preparation step of creating new variables from raw data before training begins. C. Data augmentation involves artificially expanding a training dataset, for example, flipping images, to prevent overfitting during training. D. Model validation is the process of evaluating the model's accuracy on a holdout test dataset before it is deployed to production. Training is equal to learning the patterns. Inference is equal to using the learned patterns to make predictions on real-world data. Question number 248 is a good test of exam judgment. This question moves us into Bedrock guardrails. This scenario tests whether you recognize the controlling constraint. A retail company is building a customer support chatbot using a foundation model on Amazon Bedrock. The company must ensure the chatbot blocks toxic user inputs and never generates inappropriate or harmful responses. Which Amazon Bedrock capability provides these content filtering safeguards natively? The exam distinction is hidden in these choices. Now examine choice A, Amazon Bedrock guardrails. Now examine choice B, Amazon Bedrock agents. Now examine choice C, Amazon Bedrock inference APIs. Now examine choice D, Amazon Bedrock custom models. The required response is A, Amazon Bedrock guardrails. Guardrails for Amazon Bedrock is the native security feature that allows organizations to define and apply content filters. It automatically evaluates both user inputs, prompts, and model outputs, responses, to block toxic language, hate speech, PII, and custom denied topics, ensuring safe interactions. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. B. Bedrock agents orchestrate complex, multi-step workflows and API calls. They do not inherently provide content filtering for toxicity. C. Bedrock inference APIs are the technical endpoints used to send requests to the models. They do not natively filter content without guardrails applied. D. Custom models are fine-tuned foundation models. Fine-tuning changes behavior but does not provide a robust, real-time safety filter against malicious prompts. Remember this decision rule. For filtering toxic content, blocking prompt injections, or redacting PII in generative AI applications on AWS, the answer is always guardrails for Amazon Bedrock. Question number 249 contains an important exam distinction. The key exam clue is contained in this scenario. A corporation wants an AI chatbot to answer employee questions based on its internal HR manual. The manual is updated weekly with new policies. The chatbot should use the latest synchronized version of the manual without requiring the foundation model to be retrained. Which approach satisfies these requirements? The exam distinction is hidden in these choices. Now examine choice A. Create a retrieval augmented generation (RAG) workflow with Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases and synchronize the data source after updates. Now examine choice B. Fine-tune an LLM on the company policy text by using Amazon SageMaker AI. Now examine choice C. Select a foundation model from Amazon Bedrock and include the manual during pre-training. Now examine choice D. Use Amazon Q Developer to build a custom code analysis tool. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is A. Create a retrieval augmented generation (RAG) workflow with Amazon Bedrock knowledge bases and synchronize the data source after updates. This option satisfies the complete requirement because knowledge bases for Amazon Bedrock retrieves relevant passages from a synchronized external data source and supplies them to the model at inference time. This helps ground responses in the current HR manual without updating the model's weights. The incorrect choices are plausible but unsuitable because B. Fine-tuning changes model weights and would require repeated customization as policies change. C. Pre-training is an expensive model training process and produces static knowledge after training. D. Amazon Q Developer is primarily a software development assistant, not the managed RAG service for this HR chatbot. Exam strategy. use our AG for frequently changing external knowledge and synchronize the knowledge base data source when documents change. Our AG improves grounding but does not guarantee correctness. Approach question number 250. By checking every constraint. The focus now shifts to Bedrock guardrails. Pay attention to qualifiers such as least, most, and minimum. A law firm uses a RAG application to summarize case files. The application provides the retrieved source passages and the user's query to Amazon Bedrock. For compliance, the firm wants to detect and block responses that are insufficiently supported by those source passages. Which Amazon Bedrock capability addresses this requirement? Eliminate every option that violates even one requirement. Consider option A. Configure contextual grounding checks and guardrails for Amazon Bedrock. Consider option B. Use Amazon Fraud Detector to detect potentially fraudulent online activities. Consider option C. Use AWS config to query compliance metadata by using natural language. Consider option D. Use AWS Audit Manager to prepare IT audit and compliance reports. After elimination, select A. Configure contextual grounding checks and guardrails for Amazon Bedrock. The decisive reason is contextual grounding checks evaluate a model response against a supplied grounding source and user query. The firm can configure grounding and relevance thresholds so responses that do not meet the thresholds are detected and filtered. Now eliminate the distractors. B. Amazon Fraud Detector addresses fraud use cases, not grounding of generated text. C. AWS config records and evaluates AWS resource configurations. It does not assess LLM responses. D. AWS Audit Manager collects audit evidence. It does not compare generated answers with source passages. Use this elimination rule in the exam. Contextual grounding checks can detect and filter insufficiently grounded or irrelevant responses when a source and query are supplied. They do not guarantee that every remaining statement is correct. For question number 251. Separate the requirement from the distractors. Look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. A media company is selecting foundation models for a new platform. The platform needs to generate marketing text, synthesize background music, and create promotional graphics. The engineers are classifying models based on whether they accept and generate text, audio, or images. Which characteristic of a foundation model describes the type of data it can process? Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Next, option A, modality. Next, option B, model size. Next, option C, latency. Next, option D, model customization. The correct choice is A, modality. The requirement to solution matches modality refers to the mode or format of data that a foundation model can process or generate. Text, images, audio, and video are all different modalities. Models that can process and generate across different data types, like accepting text and outputting an image, are known as multimodal models. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. B. Model size refers to the number of parameters, weights, in the neural network, which generally correlates with reasoning capability, not the type of data it accepts. C. Latency is an operational performance metric indicating how fast the model generates a response. D. Model customization refers to techniques like fine-tuning or continued pre-training used to adapt the model to specific tasks. Watch for this clue in similar questions. Text, audio, image, and video are modalities. A model that handles more than one is multimodal. Question number 252. We are moving to SageMaker fundamentals. Identify the requirement in this scenario. A human resources analyst wants to build a machine learning model to predict which employees are at highest risk of leaving the company. The analyst has a dataset in a spreadsheet but has no programming experience. Which Amazon SageMaker feature allows the analyst to build this predictive model without writing any code? The choices are: Option A, SageMaker Canvas. Option B, SageMaker Clarify. Option C, SageMaker Data Wrangler. Option D, SageMaker Model Monitor. The best answer is A, SageMaker Canvas. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Amazon SageMaker Canvas provides a visual, no-code interface that allows business analysts and users with minimal machine learning experience to easily build, train, and deploy predictive models, like predicting employee attrition, using tabular data. The remaining options fail one or more requirements because B, SageMaker Clarify provides bias detection and explainability reports for ML models, but it is not the workspace used to build the models themselves. C, SageMaker Data Wrangler is a visual tool used specifically for cleaning and preparing data before training, not the primary tool for training and deploying the predictive model. D, SageMaker Model Monitor is used to continuously observe deployed endpoints in production for data drift, not for building models. A useful exam pattern is this. If the user is a business analyst or has no coding ML experience and needs to build a predictive model, the answer is Amazon SageMaker Canvas. Let's analyze question number 253. Read the scenario with the target outcome in mind. A software company is building an image search engine. The company converts images into high-dimensional embeddings and needs a database service capable of performing k-nearest neighbor (KNN) similarity searches to find visually similar images. Which AWS service meets these vector database requirements? Review the options and eliminate any clear mismatch. Option A is Amazon OpenSearch Service. Option B is Amazon Comprehend. Option C is Amazon Personalize. Option D is Amazon Poly. The required response is A, Amazon OpenSearch Service. The key clue points here because Amazon OpenSearch Service natively supports k-nearest neighbor (KNN) search. This capability allows developers to store high-dimensional vectors, embeddings, generated by machine learning models and rapidly query the database to find vectors that are mathematically close to each other, enabling semantic or visual similarity searches. B. Amazon Comprehend is an NLP service used to extract sentiment and entities from text. It is not a vector database. C. Amazon Personalize generates customized product recommendations based on user behavior. It is not a general-purpose vector database for image search. D. Amazon Poly is a text-to-speech service. It does not store vectors or perform similarity queries. Vector databases store embeddings and perform KNN, k-nearest neighbor, similarity searches. On AWS, the primary services for this are Amazon OpenSearch Service and Amazon Aurora RDS with pgvector. You have completed part 9 of the AIF-C01 exam practice series. Continue your preparation by opening the complete playlist and watching the remaining parts in sequence. Please like this video, subscribe to Tech with Kaushik, and enable notifications for more certification exam preparation content. Share your score, questions, or feedback in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part.